I want and a very good evening and a warm welcome to all of you for a very special launch as well as a webinar. We're coming to you live from the Jai Kilton and we warmly welcome all our virtual listeners or viewers who are watching us online through Zoom to a very exclusive evening. Today's topic is on navigating the digital future, assisting you to stay relevant. Following the health guidelines as well as social distancing, we thought we'll do a different setup of joining you here virtual and at our location here at the Joy Kilton while we follow the health regulations, and we appreciate your valuable time of joining us through online as well. The reason why we're speaking about a very important subject is its prevalence in today's society, how we go forward in the future, which would help inculcate in our day-to-day careers. Right at the outset, I have the real pleasure of introducing you to our panelists who have joined us here for this very special webinar. We're really honored to have with us the president of the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, Mr. Roshan Fernando. We're also joined by the vice president of SLIM, Mr. Nuwan Gamage. And we also have the CEO of SLIM, Mr. Sanath Senanayake, and the Vice President Marketing, Facebook and Grow Global, Umair Volid, and a very special individual who is joining us virtually all the way from Ireland, while we say good morning to him as well, the Digital Skills and Performance Coach and Digital Marketing Institute Ireland, Mr. Paul Munds joins us with us online for this very special webinar. Now, to bring you a short detail about the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, the apex body of marketing, was founded in the year 1970 and subsequently incorporated by an Act of Parliament in the year 1980, recognizing as the national body of marketing and a non-for-profit organization. SLIM mandates always make sure that they stay ahead of the business and also inculcates marketers to be up to date with what the technology or marketing strategy is all about. And especially in times of COVID, it was all about digital, how people move forward, how people take things to the next level. So if you were introduced to some of the courses or the certifications that were involved at the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, this would have been a fantastic opportunity for you to actively be a part of the pathway. Nevertheless, today, what we're about to introduce you would give you more provision so that you take it to the next level. We also inculcate in organizing national level events continuously on an annual basis, which are popular among the Sri Lankan corporates as well as public alike. With the vision of leading the nation's efforts towards economic prosperity and the mission of establishing marketing as the driving force for enhancing business and national value, SLIM actively promotes marketing as an essential business philosophy to facilitate the mission of establishing marketing as the driving force which enhances businesses and national value alike. Restart Sri Lanka brought a lot of fame all over the country, and that was a promise which was brought by the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. Now today, the Digital Marketing Institute of Ireland is a global certification body that sets the standards of digital education. DMI's goal is to address the digital skills shortage by helping individuals from across the globe up to skill as well as to give a kick-ass career in whatever the digital marketing career that they value or do pursue. The DMI continuously work with industry leaders such as Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as IBM to validate course content, identify global trends, the skills framework and competencies. We enable continued learning through the membership platform for all our graduates and members. DMI has over 27,000 certified students across 100 plus countries, and they're looking to expand their global partner network to support rapid growth. DMI are active in over 100 countries around the globe and have a community of over 55,000 members. Now, to tell you details as to why SLIM is introducing this to you and the background of what the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing is all about, I have the real pleasure of introducing Mr. Nuwan Gamage, the Vice President SLIM Education, to officially welcome the gathering who have joined us here virtually. Good evening, Mr. Gamage.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody, and I think from the Sri Lanka and Ireland, good morning. And Mr. President Roshan Fernando and CEO and Executive Director Sanath Senanayake, Umair Void from Sri Lanka, our experts in digital marketing, and Paul Munds from Ireland, DMI. And thank you very much for joining today evening, and all the participants from online. Thank you very much for joining today for our DMI Slim joint webinar to introduce first ever Sri Lankan digital marketing qualification of partnering with DMI. Actually, back in 2015, we have identified there's a booming digital marketing fraternity here in Sri Lanka. And as a result of that, we have seen a lot of skill gap in digital marketing here. And based on that, as a national body of marketing, we thought of introducing digital marketing qualification to Sri Lankan digital marketers. So we launched digital marketing certificate course here in Sri Lanka in 2017. Then subsequently in 2018, we introduced digital marketing diploma in Sri Lanka. And that is based on, because that's our national mandate as a national body of marketing. And then, so we identified there are a lot of new kind of innovation and creativeness in digital marketing. So evaluate them and give them platform. We introduce Slim Digis 1.0 in 2018. So that is the digital marketing award show. Actually, Digis 2.0 is on the corner. So we'll be having that on September. So today actually is a remarkable day in Sri Lankan digital marketing fraternity, because and the students as well as all the other marketers, because with that, so those who are studying DMI and CMI, digital marketing diploma and digital marketing certificate course here in Sri Lanka, with the DMI qualification, you will get a certified digital marketing professional, certified digital marketing associate. So we are the only accredited body here in Sri Lanka under the DMI, CDM and DDM. I think we must thanks again Dr. Jayantha, who is our treasurer, because he's the hard worker on this entire game, because he is the one who always had a contact with this DMI. And I must thanks in this occasion Jayantha as well, because he has done a tremendous job to take DMI partnership with the Slim. Yeah.
Thank you, Nuwan. Thank you for taking us through that valuable information, also in instrumental sharing information as to how digital marketing came into existence at the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. I'd like to turn now to Mr. Roshan Fernando, President of SLIM, to deliver the message and also to say why visit this course. I know that you've been very instrumental in restarting an entire process, and especially introducing digital marketing now is turning the pages here at SLIM as well.
Yeah, good evening, Sharon, and good evening, audience who is joining locally and internationally also. Yeah, this is a moment that SLIM, the National Institute of Marketing, celebrates its 50th year. The golden jubilee of the institute, like Sharon said, founded in 1970 and incorporated in the Parliament Act in 1980. And I thank the Digital Marketing Institute, Ireland, for joining hands with the National Institute of Marketing in Sri Lanka, who is driving the national mission at this moment. If you say marketing has become the driving force in with this digital transformation, right? So marketing was, entirely is now a key driving force in every organization and every business unit. If you take, that is a classic example was during pandemic, we launched the initiative of Restart Sri Lanka with in partnership with the Prime Minister Office. And what Prime Minister requested us is to lead this national mission. And Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing should lead this national mission, and it should be a marketing-driven initiative. It's a marketing-driven initiative to re-engineer the businesses of this country and to reinvigorate the economy. So that is the importance that given to the marketing. It was actually gradually with this digital transformation, I think with digital marketing coming into play, marketing is playing a vital role. If you take the post during pandemic even, Slim was entirely ready to deliver our courses online, to conduct examinations. We were already, we planned and we launched, and we started the D-Slim project, which is the biggest investment and biggest project in Slim. The entire Slim will be digitalized in these coming years. So the digital plays a vital role in Slim and in this country. So I think this is the right time with coming into a partnership with Digital Marketing Institute, the Institute for Digital Marketing in global. So I think whoever follows certificate of digital marketing will have will obtain the certificate of digital marketing associate, and whoever following DDM, digital diploma in marketing, will be a certified digital marketing professional. So that is the opportunity that we are giving to the younger generation, and whoever following the digital marketing, I think this has been, now everyone should have a knowledge in marketing and also your digital knowledge in marketing. So that is the future. So I think this is the right time. I mean, with this restarting Sri Lanka, I think we are engaged in a national mission to restart Sri Lanka with partnership with a joint project with the Prime Minister Office. And this digital marketing has come into a vital role that plays the entire future of this country. So DDM and CDMA and also this Digital Marketing Institute partnering with SLIM is a national level importance that we can give to the future of this country. So I think with all these, this is a new milestone, a new start with 50-year history of SLIM. This will be a great start and a new initiative of SLIM history, partnering with the Institute for Digital Marketing in this moment.
Thank you, Mr. Roshan Fernando, President of the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. Now, if you are a digital marketer, once upon a time, there would have been this question of where am I going to be recognized with a qualification? We have a solution for that. Where is my pathway? How do I take it forward? We have a solution for that as well. And that's where DMI comes into play. Now, to tell you a little detail about the product itself, the CDM, the Certificate in Digital Marketing, is the preliminary course designed to equip students with the fundamentals of digital marketing and the online communication ecosystem. The course is beneficial for the digital marketing career-minded candidates seeking to acquire specific competencies and who would add value to those already in marketing or business development force, intending to enhance their skills in digital marketing. Students who have completed the CDM with the additional payment, they can get the CDMA Certified Digital Marketing Associate qualification. Now, the Diploma in Digital Marketing program, known as DDM, is designed to provide the most important digital marketing concepts, the best practices and emerging concepts in digital marketing. Students who have completed the DDM with an additional payment, they have to sit for the exams after the students can get the CDMP, that is the Certified Digital Marketing Professional Qualification. It's a fantastic platform which has been created with a pathway, and that's the promise what Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing has provided you. And Gone are the days where we would think marketing, we need the theoretical side only, but no, things have changed. Marketing involves in every single individual, every single component, be it finance, be it banking, whatever the industry it is, it has a massive involvement. Now, today, being a very special day for the launch as well as the webinar, we're honored to have with us Mr. Paul Munds, the Digital Skills and Performance Coach at the Digital Marketing Institute, Ireland. So we'd like to invite you, good morning, to discuss on navigating the digital future, assisting you to stay relevant. We would like to hear how the weather is in Ireland, as well as we welcome you to this webinar, Mr. Munds.
Thank you very much. So look, I'll get some housekeeping done. The weather is a bit cloudy. We don't get great summers in Ireland. It's now 11:15 a.m. Around the COVID, which is a very, it's a pressing issue. We've had a bit of a spike in Ireland, so we've gone back into phase 2. So offices have been locked down again, and a lot of us professionals in Ireland are working from home. But look, I'm honoured to be here today, and it's great to hear that the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing is celebrating 50 years. So I'm going to share my screen now with the audience. Okay, we've put together a presentation which hopefully the professionals who have enrolled onto this webinar today can start to get a better idea of the global digital picture, how it relates to you as an individual, your career, your company, your future career. And maybe you walk away with a few good insights. And I know we have a great digital marketing expert, Umer Volid, who is going to also contribute to this session. So I'm going to share my screen now with the group. So everyone should be able to see the presentation now. I'm working off 2 screens here, so sometimes I will look away from the camera and sometimes I will look directly at you. So I suppose let's look at the title. It's a very good title that the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing have come up with. The words that I like in the title: navigating, okay, and stay relevant. So like trying to navigate your career as a professional. It's difficult enough these days because technology is always changing and disrupting industries. Traditional industries, new industries are growing. There's new platforms coming in all the time. So navigating is an important word, and we're trying to help professionals and companies navigate their pathways for the company itself or their individual career. Staying relevant is very, very important too. Okay. So just to go on to the next slide, maybe it's good to tell you a little bit about myself and maybe bring Umer in as well, just for a brief introduction. So I've been working with the Digital Marketing Institute for over 8 years. The institute itself was set up around 2008. Okay, so I joined about 3 years after it was set up. My main role in the Digital Marketing Institute has really been to mentor, guide, consult, coach professionals across the globe, to be honest, across all continents, around their digital career, and provide feedback and help them with their digital marketing or digital selling skills. I myself have obviously undertaken quite a few of the certifications, and I keep doing a few every year to keep up to date what's happening and provide good, accurate advice back. And maybe I'll just introduce Umer to say hello right now, who's the co-presenter on this session. Do you want to say hello, Umer?
Hi, Paul. Welcome. Welcome to. Hope you're having a good day, and I think welcome to the audience also. So we're quite excited to be part of this entire program. So I think. So basically, my name is Umer Volid. I represent Facebook in Sri Lanka. So I'm basically looking after the Facebook business side of Sri Lanka as the authorized sales partner, and glad that we could have this chat. So let's go ahead, Paul.
Good stuff. Thank you, Umer. So I'll go on to the agenda, everybody. Look, we'll try and keep this, around the 30 to 40-minute mark. That's pretty much what I've timed it out to be. We have some interesting sections that we want to talk about. I'm somebody that likes to go away from the presentation and maybe share some anecdotes about scenarios that I've come across for an individual's career or a company's digital transformation strategy. I suppose we'll start with a brief introduction to who the Digital Marketing Institute is. We'll then talk a little bit about the global digital skills gap. In some countries, it's a crisis, and we'll expand on that a little bit more with some statistics, both international and local in the Sri Lankan market. I'll talk through a couple of digital transformation case studies with some big brands like Vodafone and IBM. And then we'll just spend a few minutes giving you a bit of an overview of the solution, okay, to the digital skills gap. And we'll have time for Q&A, and I would encourage people to submit questions during and after the session. And I personally can stay here for as long as people want to, okay? I have no other plans this Saturday. So I think when it comes to education, it's very important. Transparency is very important. I've been working on the inside of education for the last 8 years. We have a lot of partnerships with universities across the globe, with traditional marketing in accreditation and certification bodies. And I suppose what I've learned, it's very important when you're producing programs and content for professionals, you're very transparent to your customer about who you are, how long you've been in existence, what quality assurance processes you have involved, and who develops your content. SLIM are celebrating 50 years. It's really important, you know, the integrity of a university or a marketing industry body that's been around in the country for a long time. For example, CIM, who I'm sure people in Sri Lanka are very familiar with, the Chartered Institute of Marketing in the UK, have been around for almost 100 years. You know, so that type of prestige and longevity means something, and it still holds a very valuable currency to professionals. It's why we like working with universities also. As digital marketing and technology is relatively new, okay, as a profession, it's not been around for 30 or 40 years. You know, the digital brands won't have that longevity, but we have over, you know, we're nearly 12 years in existence now. But we like to think we've built some good foundations and infrastructure. Really, this slide here is just a quick catch up of who we work with. Okay, so we have a global sort of certification body. We call them the Global Advisory Champions. Okay, and this is a group of brands, global brands, based all over the world, with centers all over the world, and brands you'll recognize, like the digital brands, some older technology brands, some big agency brands. And we have senior people from these companies who work with us all year round. We do have 2 formal meetings every year, and really these people help us. Their big focus is helping us build certifications with the right skills, okay, the right employable skills of today and of the future, and it's very, very important. So that's just a flavor of how we've built our programs and our exams and our course content, and packaged them up and shared them with education partners all over the world. So you can see there, just taking a snapshot of today officially, and we'll have a look at the live platform later. We have a professional membership community of people who've been certified by DMI or are going through a program at the moment with partners around the world, or are about to start a program. We've about 80,000 now sort of members, and that's professionals like yourself based across every major city in the world who are trying to navigate digital marketing and the changes that are happening and the new platforms that are coming on stream, and the existing platforms that are changing and how they do business every year, like Google and Facebook, some of the well-established ones. Okay, so that's just a flavor of who we are. So I said the champions are they're very interesting. It's a great concept. It's got a real formal aspect. Okay, so it's very important when we're going out to the global audience, and just to give people some extra transparency. We got invested in and bought over by a company called Spectrum Equity in 2017. They're quite a specialist tech investment equity firm based in Boston. And they would work with brands like Ancestry.com, who they own a majority share in, Headspace, SurveyMonkey, Lynda.com, who they sold on to LinkedIn. So they're very specialist in this sort of tech investment area, okay? And they probably only pick 1 or 2 brands a year to invest in. So we were honored to get invested in by them, okay? And it's not just their finances helped us accelerate our growth and quality of outputs. They've also helped us elevate our global industry advisory champion. So through their connections, we've expanded the reach, and we meet twice a year in the US. There's also plans to start to expand out chapters of the council into maybe other continents as well. So we can always keep taking a flavor of what the industry says is best practice. It's very important that we as a digital marketing sort of content and certification brand, that we don't build products from 1 or 2 people in an office in Dublin and then expect that that's going to be good for the rest of the world. We have to keep taking advice from, you know, different industries, different professionals who have different angles on digital, okay? Whether it's an education professional, a digital industry professional, a learning and development professional, all that type of stuff, okay? Just to give people a flavor of who's on the council. Again, we share this information. We're very transparent. If we add more people to it or someone steps off, we'll update that on our website. Just pick out a few people so you get a flavor. We have, say, learning and development leaders from the likes of Facebook and Google. For example, Amy Brooks is in charge of Blueprint, which is a really good education platform that Facebook have. We have Mia Mora from Google. Google have some excellent training products. A lot of them might be free or very low cost, okay? And I suppose they like to sit on our council because Google and Facebook are not looking to get involved in formal certification and education, okay? They like to offer good training products to help people use their platforms, okay, in a more cohesive and a more efficient way. They wouldn't be advising professionals, certainly not, you know, high-level professionals or people looking to build a good career in marketing or business in general. And they certainly wouldn't be advising people to put just their education products that might be free with no exams or no security onto your CV as being your primary digital certification. That's not what they're about. It's why they sit on our council. They see their short courses as being maybe at best validated continuous professional development work that you can plug into an existing certification that you have, okay? We have some CMOs from around the world who manage large digital advertising budgets, like Andrew Mortimer. He's based in the UK. He manages Sky's digital advertising budget. It's the largest budget in the UK. So he tells us what professionals he's hiring into his wider marketing team. It's become a very diverse type of persona. We have very creative people, maybe with no marketing background, working in digital marketing teams now. We have traditional marketing professionals who've been formally trained in marketing, taking the ownership of strategy and other areas of the digital campaign and integrated campaigns. We have journalists becoming content experts. We have scientists or accountants becoming PPC experts. So the type of persona Andrew is hiring is broadened, and he brings that feedback into our meetings. We also have some of these individuals will deliver webinars exclusive to our members and partner students and professional alumni as part of your CPD, okay? So it's a very vibrant, active, all year round community. You might see some digital influencers there like Larry Kim and Neil Patel, who again have large audiences and are seen as thought leaders in the area. But one thing you'll see, we don't allow any one individual. We build a program with a combination of advice and expertise and back to our product team, okay? So just to give people a bit of an overview on the global digital skills gap, as I said, in some countries they might call it a crisis. So to put this in a logical way, if you have a profession that is changing every day, every week, every month, every year, based on advances in technology, which, you know, with the best will in the world, us humans, you know, we cannot keep up with the pace of change. So all we can do is try to be agile and react to it as best we can. It's been a big challenge for, say, a traditional education body like a university, for example, who manage a large portfolio of education products. Many of those products probably have evolved slowly. So to give people, you know, I've only learned this myself coming into the inside of education. And look, universities will quite openly tell you this. the average change around a degree, you know, you might update a business degree every 4 to 5 years, and that would be for a big change with some small changes. A master's might get changed every 18 months. Okay, digital has come in, being very disruptive. It actually looks for change constantly. Now, there's a challenge for an education body to maintain a safe, integrity-based exam that's secure and doesn't change too much, but your content has to keep evolving. So that's where that's been the challenge. Essentially, most countries have a problem whereby a large percentage of their third level graduates are graduating with some skills that are not relevant to what a company might be looking for at entry-level positions, or even more slightly senior mid-level positions. So the challenge is for how do professionals and institutions and companies start to meet closer in the middle, okay? And that's really what the digital skills gap is. It does cost a lot of money to countries and economies. So most governments around the world probably have a very well-funded official working group whose main task is to try and address this digital skills gap. It's not just digital marketing and digital communications. This can include coding and programming and development. It can include IT, advancements in IT and cloud computing. It's really anything to do with sort of technology-based information and skill sets. And you will probably see in most countries, whether it's a lot of very traditional industries and brands, whether it's the consulting bodies like Accenture, I've had experience of working with them on some projects, KPMG, Ernst & Young, and Deloitte, banking institutions, FMCG brands. They're all older technology brands like Microsoft. You know, they're all looking for a much wider variety of skill sets in their company. Whereas maybe 10, 15 years ago, marketing, sales, customer service worked in much straighter lines and there wasn't as much disruption. Now we're seeing these teams work in much more varied lines. They're working on integrated projects. You know, social media might be a customer service platform for a bank. So you have to train your customer service professionals in the area of digital communication. And we'll look at some case studies later. I won't go through all the stats here, but you'll see, just for example, in the UK, the average cost is around 63 billion to the UK economy because they don't have enough well-trained, certified professionals with good digital and technology skills. So there's a cost. Companies will move into another country or they'll set up in a different country if they can't find people with the right level of sort of technology-based skills. There's a white paper which we can share with everyone, and we published this at the end of 2019. It was with the Economist group. And again, because through the sort of global industry advisory champions, our big focus is always looking at skills, talking to individual professionals, senior management level professionals who are hiring global brands. What are your challenges? Who are you struggling to, you know, what jobs are you struggling to fulfill or find the right level of professional for, okay? And this is just a few headlines from like one of the greatest challenges HR managers, recruitment companies and senior management teams have is securing people with the right talent and skill set, okay? As I said, that's where the gap is. There's a lack of, I suppose, like the average sort of concept in education is you do a piece of training, maybe a degree, and that should last you for at least 10 or 15 years, maybe with some CPD in between. Whereas digital and technology probably, you know, brings that formal training, you know, the gap has to shorten. And we see that professionals are probably doing, you know, a recertification or an upgrade every 3 to 4 years to stay relevant in a competitive market. Where now what I would say to people today is there's always fear and excitement, you know, when there's this type of gap. There's definitely potential for you as an individual. We've seen quite vibrant economies around the world. Like there's lots of good jobs in digital. Salaries have gone up in digital, and because the skills are so traceable, and a lot of the work you do in digital is so analytical. There's like you can prove you're doing good work for your company or your department, whether you're a content producer, whether you're working on a website, whether you're part of an integrated strategy. There's a lot of analytics behind digital. Therefore, senior management teams and boards are quite happy to pay more salaries because they see the proof of what the return on investment is. Okay, so as an individual, that's an opportunity, and if you take a little bit of time to learn a bit more about digital marketing. I would also then, around the fear side, I wouldn't overplay this, but I personally have worked with a lot of senior experienced marketing professionals around the world. Let's take the UK as an example. Maybe around 4 or 5 years ago, around 2016, I had a 6 to 9 month period where I just seemed to be speaking to a lot of quite established marketing professionals in the UK who, without realizing it, change happened in their business quite quickly, whereby they had a certain budget and level in the business, and suddenly that budget got chipped away at, and then suddenly the budget got transferred to a digital team of which they hadn't really built any sort of relationship with, and they found themselves taking a reduced role or possibly a redundancy. So and they, in their own words, they probably would have said, I didn't realize how quickly digital was gaining influence in my company or with our customer base, and I maybe was a little bit complacent. So if people take a takeaway today, I wouldn't be fearful of all the change in technology. People can only do what they can do on a daily or a weekly basis, but I would be wary of complacency. Okay, it's been my experience that technology just runs roughshod over any business professional who sort of, I'll ignore that for another couple of years, and I feel I'm safe in my career. Things can happen very quickly, so I would always be, I personally would not be a complacent person. I would probably try and do a DMI course every few years just to make sure I'm up to speed with what's happening. So just as a segue into introducing you to Umir, I always like to just as a grounding exercise, just do a quick snapshot of digital penetration in a particular country, because we speak to people all over the world most weeks. I suppose with Sri Lanka, this was some information taken from datareportal.com. So it's always good just to look at your own country and see what the penetration figures are like. So you can, I won't go through all of them. You'll probably see around internet penetration, it's around 47 to 50%. Okay, there's been an increase. So that increase last year was 4.1%. It'll probably just keep going at that level. It never goes backwards. Okay, it's been my experience of countries around the world. On our doorstep, the UK is probably the most advanced e-commerce economy in Europe per head of population. But then we would see hotspots of growth around, say, the Baltics, countries that have are not as advanced around e-commerce habits or digital research from the consumer, but they're growing very quickly. Around social media, you'll see in most countries that I research, social media nearly mirrors the internet penetration. Like in the US, it's person for person. There's as many people with a social media account as who would access the internet. It's at 30% in Sri Lanka at the moment, so there's definitely room to grow there. The challenge for social media in any country is that sometimes companies don't figure out how to use social media effectively, and they don't have a good plan for social media, so it reduces its effectiveness, and that can sometimes just be through a lack of maybe formally trained people in the platforms who they didn't decide, well, that we launched a marketing campaign through Facebook or Twitter, but really our customers wanted a customer service approach through those platforms as opposed to a sales and marketing strategy, simple things like that. And mobile connectivity is mobile is really the big driver in a lot of countries around the world for the growth of digital consumption. So look, there are just a few stats. So with that, I'm just going to introduce Umir, and I'll move on to the next slide here. Thanks, Umir.
Yes, Paul. So thanks for the info. And I think over the last 5 years, we've seen a major increase in the Sri Lankan internet population. So as you showed in the previous slide, so we see a major boom also with telcos, with the telcos providing like uninterrupted 4G. So I think the overall internet penetration has evolved over the smartphone penetration also in Sri Lanka has grown rapidly over the last 5 years, I would say. So again, adding to some of the points that you earlier mentioned, even the use of social media, we see a lot of companies now using social media advertising specifically to drive sales. it's not only about the likes and the engagement they were looking at about 3 years ago or 2 years ago. And also post-COVID, we are seeing a amazing number of improvements in terms of the digital outlook of the country. More brands are now quite aggressively started using digital platforms in terms of even from a moral transformation kind of a thing. Also, we are seeing a lot of e-com players have come into the market. Even traditional retail institutions are also now using digital platforms in terms of e-commerce platform towards driving more sales online. So overall, just to give an outset in a more of a Sri Lankan context, we see a major boom. As you said, there's about 47% of the population is now on the internet. So with that, I think the entire marketing industry, the advertising fraternity also is looking very deeply towards digital as a key element in terms of driving proper results. So if you still look at just describing on this, some of the data that we have gathered over is the overall media spend in Sri Lanka. The advertising media spend is still predominantly on TV. So we are looking at a shift over the last 2 years, 3 years. We saw a major shift because digital was about 3-4% of the company's entire marketing budget. It was only about a very minimum portion was given to digital. But over the last 2 years, we saw the major boom in terms of digital. Now it's about the digital has technically overtaken, if you say the press, even so it's about 14% of the entire country's advertising spend is now on digital. So digital is like an overall investment, but people do in terms of brands specifically do. So what we see is the amount that the brands are now investing in terms of digital it's extremely high. And also now I would again work on some of the wordings that people are currently using. It's not only digital marketing now. It's more of a marketing in a digital environment. Marketing in a digital world is kind of a buzzword which is going around the industry, that people, the entire fraternity of not only advertising, not only marketing, but the entire digital transformation is one key element, I think. So I think we see a lot of move towards the digital over the last 5-6 years. So I think over the next few years also we will see this entire media spend in terms of advertising. The digital split is going to get big. I think in your part of the world anyway, digital will have a bigger portion in terms of advertising spend, and even time spent on media. If you see people spend quite a lot of time compared to the other mediums. Now they spend a lot of time on social media, probably on online and those kind of platforms. So overall, I think it's a good stage with the Sri as a growing market, as an emerging market. Sri Lanka is completely now geared towards the next stage of digital. And I think with the I think a special mention for the telcos also in the country who provides 4G and those level of improvements would really benefit the entire digital marketing ecosystem. Over to you.
Thanks, Amir. Thanks. So yeah, just some good points there. I think it's very important to, again, based on my experience, traditional marketing channels, traditional advertising channels, they, in most countries of the world, they still have a very important role to play. Okay, so as Amir said, I would not be looking to make it a digital marketing and a marketing. It's marketing in an increasingly digital world. Okay, and we've seen that ourselves, that it's all about integration. Take for example the current health crisis. When people suddenly wanted to move away from social media a little bit to find accurate information. So they started to trust. They went back to national TV stations, radio, even print. So for a trusted, they didn't trust maybe some of the information because there was a lot of false information going around WhatsApp and Facebook and things like that. So the traditional communication channels still hold some currency and weight. I would say digital marketing as an umbrella term, and this is just from a career viewpoint for people to take away from this session. There's a lot of people building a career in digital marketing communications who've never worked in marketing. Okay, it's not been their background. They've come from a different skill set, and they've managed to figure out how to use that skill set. For example, being a PPC or an SEO expert, a user experience expert, a content professional. Around the traditional marketing area, I come from a traditional marketing background. I would have completed a marketing degree. traditional marketing would have been my primary career before I joined the Digital Marketing Institute. I think it's also important to say to a marketing professional, your career experience to date still carries a lot of advantages and weight. You're good at strategy, you're good at putting together campaigns, you're good at analyzing putting together a cohesive strategy. So I would say there's still a lot of your traditional skills that you can carry into a changing environment. And the last thing I'll share before we move on to some case studies, it's very important to remember this as a business professional and a business. Really, what drives the change in an industry, it's the customer. So the customer moves at a pace that companies cannot keep up with. And really, all we've seen in terms of digital transformation, and you'll see some of the case studies here, it's really been driven by the customer's usage, where they've gone online, where they want you to be. They have more control. So companies have to try and react, and a company can never move as quickly as an individual customer. So really what a lot of the digital transformation piece is figuring out where we need to be, online or offline, because that's where our customer wants us to be. And that's probably been the biggest challenge and driver. So really, if you're looking at the Sri Lankan market, look at your own individual habits around how you like to bank, where you like to research products, and then look at your friends, neighbors, work colleagues. That will tell you a lot about where companies might need to be in an industry and give you a feeling at ground level. And then the stats will back it up, okay? Just to give you an example, in the US market, probably the digital spend has surpassed traditional spend, and I'll share some research with SLIM, who can share it with you guys. And the US has probably been our biggest growth market. And again, though, our formula for the US market has been to partner with another marketing certification industry body, the American Marketing Association, and that's been a really nice fit for professionals in the US over the last sort of 6 to 7 months. So I'm just going to move on to some industry case studies. Again, I might share anecdotally about some scenarios here as well for both the individual and the company, so people can get a takeaway for both. So we've worked on some case studies where we've got agreement from the brand to publish the results and talk a bit about them. We've also worked on some industry sort of training projects where the brand, for a variety of different reasons, might not want us to talk publicly and name them, but I might share some anecdotes without naming the brand or the individual involved. But it gives you a flavor of what's happening in companies and where you fit in this mix. So I suppose Vodafone's challenge as, say, a telco brand or a utility brand has been how marketing in the digital world has taken some marketing roles or responsibilities outside the marketing team, and they've had to have an integration. So for example, if you look at, say, Twitter, a Vodafone customer on Twitter, or any utility brand's customer on Twitter, for example, they have very little patience, and they will send you a DM, they will post, they will give out about a bad experience they're having, and how you react to that experience, can often be a deciding factor of whether people maybe go, well, if I'm going to pick a utility brand, I want to see what their response rate is like on social media, what's their customer service like, as opposed to their marketing and branding messages. I don't believe their marketing and branding because I get to see how they manage their customer in public view, okay, and that's been a challenge for utility brands and banking institutions and Vodafone. So I suppose Vodafone's sort of challenge was how do we help our marketing team expand and develop their digital skills over a longer period of time. And they already had an LMS in their company, and so they'd started, and a lot of big companies are starting to look at like continuous education, as opposed to maybe bringing someone on site for a couple of days, do a lot of intensive training, but maybe some of the knowledge doesn't stick, or there's no accountability, or after a few weeks. Whereas you see companies investing now in sort of an LMS and give their staff continuous professional development and training opportunities, so you can just keep incrementally building your knowledge over a longer period of time. So we just integrated our training programs and allowed the marketing professionals and customer service teams to take some digital training over a longer period of time. And then at the end of that training, after a year or 18 months or 15 months, they may then decide to go and take some exams just to certify their knowledge, which was better for them as an individual, Vodafone's particular, they weren't necessarily making an exam mandatory like our next case study, but for the individual, and if any individuals are listening today, whatever digital education and training you do, it's really important that you document it, and I suppose why we exist and brands like SLIM exist. We're big into certification and traceability. A lot of companies now, because the salaries are getting higher and budgets are getting larger, they want to get proven, certified, traceable skills against your resume. Okay, to give you an anecdote before I move on to the next case study, one of Europe's largest airlines, okay, now I won't mention the name because it's more of an anecdotal observation that from speaking to the people involved. So a member of the senior management team I spoke to at an event about 3 to 4 years ago, and they were hiring a new head of digital. Okay, so this is going to be quite a senior role, with almost a 6-figure salary, and there was a big responsibility around the website, okay, for the airline, the SEO strategy, the PPC strategy, the UX, the CX, the analytics. Okay, an individual got the job based on what looked on paper as being quite a good, resume around digital marketing experience. Okay, there wasn't any sort of digital marketing certification. It was, there was more of a traditional marketing and business qualification in the background, which was good. And I know the individual, and they're a relatively competent person. However, the role was at too advanced a level. Their digital, like I know this person, their digital training probably only happened a couple of years ago, and it was short, bite-sized training. They didn't really do a deep dive into areas like search and areas like SEO and PPC. There's no shortcuts. You have to. There's a lot of detail involved. This individual went into the role, and within, I think it was around 8 to 12 weeks. They had to part ways. Okay, and that was how quickly, through not having the depth of knowledge, or maybe underestimating what their level of knowledge was, the website was affected, the traffic was affected, and that had immediate commercial implications for the company. You will probably see case studies when you start doing digital training of about an agency who took over an SEO for a large brand, and maybe we're doing some black hat SEO tactics instead of white hat, and Google made a change, and suddenly that big brand was gone. Okay, I think there's a well publicized case study with Walmart in the US around 4 or 5 years ago, where they had an agency not operating with integrity. And again, this is something that comes up with traditional marketing professionals or managers. They want knowledge to hold other professionals accountable for any work that they're doing for their company, either on teams or agencies. Okay. The next case study is IBM. Slightly different. This was more aimed at digital and social selling, okay, which is another area that we're involved in. IBM made a test mandatory. IBM had started to see that their internal sales teams were starting to sell more technical products, higher value products. Their field sales teams, the more generally experienced sales and marketing professionals who were looking after enterprise solutions, they were starting to maybe find it difficult to get appointments to go on site. They found that their customer, preferred maybe communicating through digital channels. And again, they just wanted the brand to be available when they wanted to purchase, not to have someone coming on their premises without maybe warning, just to see how things are going, and it was more disruptive. So the internal sales teams were put through a formal sort of digital marketing and digital and social selling training program. It was a bespoke program, but the test was mandatory. Now you'll see the results there. We didn't publish some of the results. The management team in Europe who brought this in, it was a global training. Some of the results were so good in terms of reducing like the lead gen time, the lead development time, the closing of the sale, like all, and increasing their opportunities, from the leads they were working using these new skills. The numbers were sensational. In fact, they had to bring the numbers down a little bit because there was such a rise in some of these stats that they would measure very, very sort of rigorously. But you'll see their win ratio for the professionals who sort of got certified and improved their digital communication skills went up by 33%, and the time to close reduced by 37%. So you can see that, like, and that was like 4 years ago now, 5 years ago. IBM are in their third iteration of this program. So it's just become part of their induction for inside sales, and that people do this training, get an exam, get certified, and maintain their knowledge in this space. And that's been a fascinating one to observe. Straumann, and I'll share one more anecdote after the Straumann before we finish in the corporate case studies. And I'm going to bring Amir in again just for maybe another few overview of industries in Sri Lanka. Straumann are, you know, a global manufacturer of sort of dentistry equipment, a very traditional brand. And they don't need to move very quickly because they're a niche. They work in a sort of they're a big player in a relatively niche industry, so they have significant market share. However, they are always looking to maybe the next 5 or 10 years, and this is more of a protection for them, that they get their marketing teams upskilled and certified in digital marketing, so that if there is new ways of doing business, it's more R&D for them at the moment than it's a necessary. But it's been, I suppose, it's been part of them, a bit of future protection, okay? And also, never underestimate this for the individual working in a marketing role or a business role. If you've been working in an industry for 10 years, you know, you can get a bit jaded with your strategies because it's the same strategy over and over again with maybe some small changes. I suppose so individuals like digital education because it's something new, they can relate to it, and it provides some spark and creativity and newness to the career. So we found the Straumann employees to actually just enjoy expanding their knowledge and skill set and learning, because learning wakes everybody up, you know, and they've really embraced it. It doesn't mean they're implementing everything they learn in relation to their Straumann role, because, as I said, Straumann have a good market share right now, but they are looking at it in an R&D capacity, and maybe we could change the way we do business gradually, okay? I'll finish with one last anecdote, which is a very good one. Is for a national bank, Ulster Bank. They're a national bank in the UK and Ireland, so quite a big institution. Again, it's a public case study. They had an issue around 2016 where their ATMs went down for about 10 days. So their customers could not extract money, wages, savings, etc. This caused huge problems online. As you can imagine, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. Ulster Bank were not set up to manage the message across social media. Social media was like maybe one person managing social media accounts, but more from a placid, passive marketing viewpoint where they might just post generically. It wasn't really a robust channel. They didn't have a lot of people involved, particularly customer service. Because they couldn't manage the message online and maybe answer questions and reduce fear, reduce anger, they lost a lot of business, a lot of current account business, as a result of those 10 days when the ATMs were down. So in reaction to that, Ulster Bank put about 100 customer service professionals through a digital marketing certification program, just so they could build a customer service strategy across digital communication channels, so that if a crisis happened in the future, they could manage the message and reduce the outputs and, you know, any loss of revenue or earnings. So a lot of this is just about reducing risk for companies. So I'm just going to bring Amir in there, just again, just high level talk about maybe some of the industries in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, Paul. So if we look at the overall Sri Lankan industry, we see a lot of business verticals. The industries are now picking digital as one of their key components. Even if you see an industry like a real estate kind of an industry, the business which is who are trying to sell apartments and also real estate projects, we see a huge boom of them, and also they're using digital platforms as one of their key marketing communication methods. So we see a lot of aggregated spends, even in terms of there could be the advertising and even the effort that they put in towards a digital strategy. So we see a lot of opening in terms of these verticals, and also a huge boom in the current context of Sri Lanka is the e-com business. We see a lot of boom happening in that. So also that is one of the key industries. So I think overall on a career path also, people are more now engaged towards getting into digital marketing. They're looking at more options in terms of digital marketing. So also even if you look at about 5, 6, or even could be a little bit about 7, 8 years ago, mostly the technical or the IT fraternities are also more geared towards digital or the online. But now you see the overall business ecosystem and the entire organization is now trying to driving towards digital. So that actually becomes the overall industries to pushing towards. So we see a lot of verticals in terms of, if I just name some of the key verticals or the industries which are spending and which are putting a lot of effort in terms of digital, could be telco industries, banking. We see all the banks now aggressively having their online banking facilities, mobile apps, payment wallets, those kind of stuff, and also e-com platforms. As I said, even clothing outlets, retail outlets now starting to invest a lot in terms of digital. So the industry has completely boomed in towards digital. So I think post-COVID, that's probably a bit more push towards those, because some of the we saw most of the leading brands also getting really aggressive in terms of their digital marketing strategy or the digital strategy, or a more of a digital transformation kind of a thing after the COVID situation. So I think overall the industry is moving very fast. I think even it could be similar to some of the other regions, because even with the internet penetration, we hear multiple case studies, multiple brands who and also digital is not again only centralized in Colombo, the capital of Sri Lanka, but it's now moving towards the other part of the other regions also. So people are using different multiple methods to purchase stuff from e-com platforms. There are even global players who have entered into the Sri Lankan market in terms of an e-com platform, and they're doing some groundbreaking stuff in terms of providing the entire digital ecosystem. So we see a major boom. I think, so those are some of the key inputs in the verticals, Paul.
Thanks very much, Amir. Thanks for that. So look, we're coming to the last section of the presentation. We're nearly online, sort of an hour. So thanks everyone for your time. But we'll spend a few minutes going through this and open up for Q&A. And I'll share a small demonstration of the platform too. So look, we see ourselves as a solution provider. We're a certification body. We're also a training course producer. We produce the content. We have a roadmap of certifications. As was mentioned at the start, we're like the entry product into Sri Lankan market is our associate level essentials program. Most professionals globally start around that level or the professional level. You know, they're the two most high volume products in a corporate environment or for an individual. And then a smaller percentage may decide to go on to more specialist or higher level, like an expert postgrad level, depending on your career trajectory and how important it is. But the majority of professionals start around these sort of entry points. Okay, just to give people a flavor, I suppose, around the essentials, and essentials mix in with you know, some of the great content that SLM will have, and also our membership library as well. These are the core modules that you would cover. We want people to understand the foundations of digital, a bit about web and emails. Social customer service is very important, and just understanding challenges and risks. Okay, so it's a good starter point. And I suppose these are just some outputs. We take it very seriously globally. We do a lot of, we have like 80,000 plus members, as I said, and we like to talk to them a lot. So we like to find out what they're doing in their career, and because of where we would expect, you know, quite high level of employability statistics from people that are part of our certification brand. There's no excuse for us not to have this. You know, there's a gap in the market, and there's a skills gap. And if you're a good certification and training body, your professional alumni should be working in full employment. They, in high numbers, they should be working in digital marketing roles. They should be getting promotions on a regular basis, and based on the sort of credibility and quality of your training content. So, and that's just the flavor of our average numbers. When we survey, maybe we generally survey about 1,000 to 1,500 alumni every year randomly, just to get a feedback of where they're at in their career once they've gotten certified. Okay, and I should say this is just from people who've been certified. Obviously, if people are pre-certification, like they're in the training mode or they're using membership content, that's good. But really, when the feedback we get from employers globally, and our global industry advisory champions, is that, look, it's really important that you do certify your training in digital, like any other profession. That's an important point to get across. So I'll just quickly I'll just jump out and show you the platform. And we can do more, I'm sure SLAM will do more detailed web demonstrations as people want to come back and speak about the product. But this is just a flavor of our online platform. So that's where people's courses sits. We have quite a big library of content for professionals. We update it about 2 to 3 times a week. I'll quickly show you what the content is like. The formats would be podcasts, videos, short courses, white papers, articles, etc. And the topics will be, a variety of different topics that people, because not everyone wants to read about the same items in digital. I mean, probably the most visited area is our career zone. At the start of this presentation, we spoke about stay relevant, navigation. Because digital is changing all the time, professionals from different backgrounds constantly need reassurance and confidence that they're going along the right pathway. So the career zone builds pathways, whether you're a more senior professional or someone starting off your career. So I'm going to go back into the presentation. And I think that will bring us to, as I said, the membership is part of CPD. So the last piece in our jigsaw, we only launched our membership library about 2 years ago with Spectrum. And I suppose it's become increasingly important that if you get trained in 2020, professionals like to feel they can confidently keep consuming good content in 2021, 2022, and get traceable CPD, continuous professional development credits against their certification. So that's becoming very important, and that's coming from our customers. So people want to keep up to date, they want to stay relevant, very important word. And just before we finish, I would say, key takeaways today would be my experience of working with professionals all over the world. Most people enjoy learning about digital marketing. It's all around us. It's just part of life. It reignites sometimes their enjoyment or their passion for their career. It opens up new pathways. It doesn't matter whether you're at the end of your career or the start of your career and everything in between. There's interesting areas for you to study here, suitable to your skill set. There's a lot of careers and quite diverse pathways. There's good opportunities. I wouldn't overplay the fear and complacency piece, but I would also, it's been my experience that don't wait around too long to start training and upskilling yourself in this area. It just makes you feel more secure in yourself when you go into business meetings next week or next month with a digital agency or another person in your business, and you want to have an informed conversation about what the right way is to proceed for your department or your company. It's good to have confidence in your skill set. So I've seen it being mostly enjoyable for people. It's always changing, so it stays vibrant, and you'll be in very safe hands, I think, with a well-established brand like the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, and ourselves, being a well-structured, and we're very transparent about what we do. So we like to keep our professional alumni informed about what we're building, why we're building it. In fact, they help us build it. So if people have any questions and answers, please feel free to drop them in. I said I'm in no rush to go today.
Yeah, and just to add on to Paul, in a Sri Lankan context, also we see a lot of job opportunities opening up in terms of the digital industry. So even from a starting point of view towards the latter part of their career, people are now gearing in, and there are a lot of even if you see from a career path, digital is now one of the most looked forward career paths for students and even for the corporate world. So even every vertical of business, even people from the finance industry or the finance teams, from the operation kind of teams, everyone is now trying to get into some kind of a digital knowledge, because that is going to be the core. It's not only for some get deceived that digital is only for the advertising fraternity, only to the marketing communication teams, but now it's a more evolved thing. So I think, as you said, we would really like to see more industries and more corporates getting into the stuff. So Paul, there's a question.
Couple of questions there, yeah. First question from Bianca: what is the source of the Sri Lanka media spend and the period? Would you have that to hand, Amir, for your slide, or?
Yeah, so it's more of a internal advertising industry report until 2018. 2018-19 years. So it's basically more of a collection of advertising industry, advertising agency report. It's a collective report. There is another question, Paul. There are certain individuals who are in the middle senior management who would necessarily not like to do preliminary qualifications. However, there's a clear need for them to up their skills in digital marketing arena. Who options do DMI offer to this segment? So she's asking more of in terms of for the middle and senior management level, what kind of an option DMI would have? Paul? Sorry guys, there's a small connection issue with Paul. Paul, can you hear me, Paul? I think you're on mute, Paul. Paul, you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm back. I just dropped out there.
No worries.
So sorry, Bianca, I was answering your question there. So it's a good question. So we have more advanced programs right up to expert level, but we would even see a lot of senior professionals might start at essential or professional level just to get a grounding, okay, of digital and understand sort of the basics, the foundations, and then decide what level they need to go to, okay, after that. The people that would do expert level, the highest level qualification, that can be a variety of people, but we generally find the average age will be around 35 plus. They have a very specific project, whether it's a career project in terms of growing, or a big e-commerce project, a transformation project that they're very involved in, and they need a really in-depth level and high level of training. But a lot of companies, when we go in at say a corporate level, we could have senior management doing the same course as someone who is junior in the company, because they want to get a baseline into the business that we've all studied to this level, and then maybe more senior people go at a higher level of content. Okay, you've also got to ask yourself from a career viewpoint, what are you looking for the certification to do? Because there is more advanced level content in the membership library that a less experienced or a less managerial person, not in management, might not want to see any value in consuming. But there's management level content that you might add to your base level of training and certification. So there's no set formula for every individual. Normally what we do when we're talking to professionals, we'll probably have a 10 or 15 minute conversation with them and find out a bit about their background and what they're trying to achieve with the training and certification. My personal opinion is, and I've done all the levels right up to expert, would be, start with a certification. Don't forget time. Like the expert level takes a lot of time. So we have a lot of professionals who are managing a very busy career and personal life. So they're looking for short, sharp piece of training. And once you get the first certification, you can always build on it, pending what you're looking to get from that piece of training over the next 12 to 18 months. Okay. I hope that helps a little bit. Yeah, and there's as Sanath came in there, there'll be added content for senior professionals. So it's a very good question, because what a senior management level professional wants from digital training and education is different from someone who's in the entry point or middle part of their career. And without being too generic about it, if you're more at the early part of your career, you probably need to have digital skills that you can do some of the work, you can execute some of the campaigns, whether it's SEO or manage a website or build content and analyze the sort of reach the content through social media platforms. If you're at a more management level, you're hiring people in to do the work, you're managing agencies, you're looking at budget spend, and you do need to know how the work is done, because you might have to hold people accountable in your company that they're doing good quality work, but you may not be practicing what you're learning. So it's sometimes you have to look at higher level considerations. Has anyone else got any questions they'd like to throw in there? As I said, I'm in no rush to go. After this session, I have to babysit my niece and nephew, a 3 and a 6-year-old. So I'll happily stay here. I'll stay here for hours if people want.
Any more questions, guys? If that's the Paul, looks like that's it for the question. So I'll probably hand over to Sharon to take the final remarks.
Great
Thank
stuff.
you, Paul, and thank you, guys.
No problem. Thanks, Amir.
A wonderful evening.
Thanks a lot, Umair. Thank you very much to Paul as well for joining us all the way from Ireland, and to all our viewers. We have a very special message to you as concluding remarks as well. To all the participants who joined us on our live Zoom cast today, you will receive a DMI endorsed e-participation certificate within a week. If you don't happen to, give us a call. We'll assist you right throughout, but congratulations, you're getting an e-certificate. And we thank all our panelists for joining us today, very especially to Mr. Paul Munds, as well as Mr. Umair Void for joining us for our panel discussion. Very fascinated by the insights that's provided, as well as good learnings, and a fantastic opportunity for you to avail yourself with some benefits as you take along your career pathway for digital marketing. Marketing in the digital world, while we invite all of you to join this fraternity, marketing doesn't involve just about a brand, place, or person. It can be anything that's possible, but you need to get onto the virtual world, and you can make that all possible together with the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. For more details, check out www.slim.lk. That's our website, or contact us on our direct line, and we will be happy to assist you. Thank you to all the viewers who have joined us through Zoom, and we certainly hope you have a great Saturday evening. Until we see you next time, we conclude the launch as well as the webinar here at Joy Kilton. I'm Sharon Mascarenhas wishing you a very pleasant evening.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.